Welcome to the Daily Shift. You heard that right. The Daily Shift. The show where we block out the noise and speak truth, train your mind, and help you become the absolute best version of yourself. Leo and Andrew are on their way. You're in the right place. And while you're here, take a breath. We're about to dive in. The show starts in 30 seconds. You ready? Take a deep breath in and breathe it out. Prepare for your shift.
What is up, beautiful people? How are you guys doing? Type in the chat 1 out of 10. Today we are going over the absolute upgrade in your communication. This is 12 communication mastery secrets. Big one there. That will make you absolutely unforgettable. It's going to make you more charismatic in any room that you walk in. And more charisma equals more deals, more clients, more revenue that you're going to create. More charisma means better relationships, better significant relationships in your life, deeper relationships, and also more influence, which creates a ripple effect of goodness in your life. Wealth is created by great communication. All the deals that you're going to do, all the business that you're going to do is going to happen because of a relationship that you built with another person. So we have 12 in this little bit of time that we have. And all I want you to do is type each one in the chat so you remember it. And I'm going to break it down in such a way where today, if you go to a coffee shop, or if you talk to someone on the street, or if you talk to someone on the phone, you will be able to use at least one of them, and it will make your relationships better. It will make your outcomes better. So, first, I want to talk to some of you guys who are on here. Type in the chat 1 out of 10 how you're feeling. Les is feeling a 10 out of 10. That's all I need. Okay, so the rule that I follow is leave people more confident than when they entered. You want to make sure that when you meet someone, that they walk away more confident, they walk away happier, they walk away better because they stepped into your life. And if you just listen to that frame and you use that frame, these 12 are going to make so much sense, and they're going to allow you to break through all the noise, all of the shyness that you might have, or any type of social anxiety. Because I had so much social anxiety growing up. I didn't know how to talk to anyone. I didn't know how to talk to girls. I didn't know how to talk to teachers. And it wasn't until I mastered these 12 because of reading an incredible book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's the only time I've now been able to go into any room, go into any stage, talk to hundreds of people, thousands of people, or go down into the audience and talk to every single one of them if I wanted to, and have a great, great, great conversation. But not only that, I can find out this person's deepest, darkest secrets. I can find out who this person is, what they need, what they want out of life. I can find out their dreams, their challenges, and I can coach them through it, which is what I've done for the past 5 years, is coach people through breakthroughs and help them understand how to become the greatest version of themselves. So if you're ready, I'm just going to dive in 1 through 12, starting with number 1, which is, type it in the chat, UPQ. This is the power of unique personal questions. Now, when you first meet somebody, you either set a bar, set a standard as being just like anybody else they've met, or you set a standard of being a one of one. And the best way you can do that, of course, is through an introductory smile, right? You give them a smile, you say hello. But as you're asking questions, you want to ask great, unique personal questions. For example, what is something you are so passionate about? Or what is the best thing that has happened to you over the past 6.5 days? And they're going to think, why 6.5 days? I don't know. I know the reason I'm asking 6.5 days is because they're going to ask themselves, why 6.5 days? And it just makes them think, like, who is this person? And why did they just ask me a question I've never been asked for in my entire life? Because that person probably asked, what's the best thing that happened to you this week? I'm not going to ask that because everyone's asked that before. I'm going to ask you, what is the greatest, absolute, most incredible thing that has happened to you over the past 6.5 days and 5 seconds? And it'll make the person laugh, and they're simply going to remember you, and you guys will have a wonderful conversation. Another one you can ask is, interesting, what is your philosophy on life? You know, I see the way that you kind of talk with ease, or maybe you just have such good energy. Like, what is your philosophy on life? Now, those are very Leo-coded questions, which means I care about philosophy. I care about how great your week was. But ask things that are very you-coded, right? Based on what you want, what you enjoy. But what I want you to do is just have one UPQ, one unique personal question that is aligned with you. You could take mine. What's the best thing that happened to you over the last 22.6 days? Or what is the thing that you're just so grateful for that you just can't help but smile? Any of those things will suffice as a UPQ. Okay? Number 2, type it in the chat. The power of active listening. Now I'm going to break this one down in 3 sections. Okay? This is a full-on masterclass that I'm doing right now. I wish I had a whiteboard. So the power of active listening will allow people to fall in love with who you are because you are so incredibly rare. You are a rarity of this world where finally they get to have somebody that is hearing what they're saying. But not only hearing it, but processing and creating a response based on what you processed. And your only job with active listening is to show them that you are actively listening. So it's 3 things. Number 1 is nonverbals. Write it down, nonverbals. So this is where you're able to show them in the moment that you're listening, and in their head, they're saying, okay, this person's attentive. This is safe, right? It's a safe place to continue talking. because most of the time we don't feel safe to fully be ourselves. We don't feel safe to tell a story because we don't know if the other person is listening, because most people don't listen, or they listen just to hear or respond. They listen just to respond. So a nonverbal is simply a smile or nodding your head. And honestly, that is all I do. I just simply am open, and I'll look at them and I'll smile and I'll nod and I'll wait. And I don't do any yeah. I don't do any of that. I stay completely silent as much as I can, because I used to be so addicted to doing the uh-huhs until one day someone said, "Hey Leo, when you do that, I feel like you're rushing me." So I simply stopped doing uh-huh, yeah, what, any of those things. And then I switched to just nonverbal nods. And then when a time is appropriate to make a noise, I will say, wow. That's it. Every 7, 10, 20 seconds, I'll give them a little bit of a, that's crazy. Number 2 of the active listening is undivided attention. And this really goes with number 3, which is no phone. There's been a study of either babies or kids, I think it's toddlers actually, where when they came into the room and their mother or father was on their phone, they were something like 60% less happy or 60% less open. But when the phone was away, they were able to feel that full love and undivided attention. But the same thing happens with us as humans, as friends, as lovers, is when the other person is on their phone, we don't feel fully able to communicate with them. And we don't feel like we are heard 100%, and that makes the person feel unsafe. And if you're unsafe, you're not going to have a deep connection. It's going to be nothing but surface level. So really this whole lesson is all about how to create non-surface level connections, because you will be just like everybody else, which is a surface level connection. You want to break through the noise and be someone that is unforgettable. Number 3, type it in the chat, is mastering eye contact. So there are 3 types of eye contact that I want to go over. Number 1 is scanning, and this is where the person is a little bit nervous or hasn't mastered eye contact. They will scan everywhere. They'll look at you, they'll look around, they'll look at the sky, they'll look to the left, they'll look down, look at their phone, they'll look at you, and it's just a little bit awkward. It's a little bit scattered. Number 2 is staring. They'll look and stare away, or they'll stare in your eyes for the longest period of time, and they won't break eye contact, and it's a little bit creepy. That's number 2. Number 3 is healthy eye contact, where I might speak something and I might look down, I might look at you for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then I'll look down again, and I'll look back at you when I'm speaking. And it's very healthy. It's based on wherever I want to put my eyes, but I'm not scattered. It is just simply healthy. I will break eye contact for your comfort by looking away and having a water or a tea or something that you can have. And it makes the other person so much more comfortable, because for me, I can look and give eye contact for the whole conversation. But I also know that a lot of people get uncomfortable with heavy eye contact if they have not mastered it themselves. So I remember in high school, I learned this, where if you go to an event, always have a glass of water or some type of drink that you can have, because that is a place where you can always break eye contact. I've been talking to you for a bit. I'm going to look at my water and drink it, and I'll look back at you. And another place is you're able to break eye contact for an extended amount of time. And then when they're saying something important, or when they're saying something that is required of eye contact, you can give it to them. And that is if you are so right now awkward with eye contact, that's what you do. Okay? So that's number 3, mastering eye contact. Number 4 is parroting the conversation. Now, this is one that's very interesting, because this one video that I did about parodying the conversation has gotten over, I think, 50 million views on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, all across, and other people reposting it. And it's because it's a very controversial idea that I don't think is controversial at all. I think it's very human nature of us to do this and for the other person to receive it. But essentially, it's this idea that when someone is talking, let's just say you're so tired, right? And someone picks you up from the airport and you have been flying for 20 hours. You just took a trip to Indonesia and you've been flying and you've been tired, you missed a flight and you just don't want to talk, but the person that picked you up is a talker. And you're like, okay, I'll let them talk. And you're half asleep in this car waiting to go home, and this person's talking about their day, and you want to listen, but you're just so tired. This person has learned the art of parroting, which is simply allowing the person to continue talking and letting them know that it's a place that they can keep talking and that the person is listening by parroting the last 3 to 5 words that this person said in their sentence. For example, the talkers, this happened in my day, and I drank this water, and I found this pen in the cabinet. You found a pen in the cabinet? Yeah, I found a pen in the cabinet. It was such a great pen because I've been looking for this pen my whole life. Not my whole life. I've been looking for this pen for years, and I got it when I was in 3rd grade. You were in 3rd grade? Yeah, I was in 3rd grade, and I found this pen, and it was such a great memory. It reminds me of, and you keep going in a sense where you can allow the person, the talker, to continue talking by simply repeating the last couple of words. And the reason it was so controversial is because people said, like, aren't they going to know what I'm doing? And to an extent, if you don't do it right, but if you use it as a tool to let them know, hey, I want you to keep talking and I'm interested, then they will feel the intent. Most of these 12 secrets here, which aren't really secrets, they're very basic things, but if you utilize them correctly, it will change your life. A lot of these things just allow you to show the other person your intent so the other person can feel safe to speak to you, so you guys can deepen a connection. Otherwise, why are we communicating in the first place? Everything else will be surface level, and we didn't have to do that. So my philosophy has always been, what are the tools that I can use to make someone feel like they can speak, and where I can allow the person to be confident and allow the person to shine? Which leads us to number 5. I'm going to go through these last ones a little bit quicker. But number 5 is tone. Type in the chat, tone. Write it down. So with tone, this is something I've mastered because of sales. I used to be so tone deaf, and in other words, monotone, where on the phone I would just talk just like this, and every single word would have the same type of tone, and it would be very mundane, and it's very hard to listen to someone who has the same type of voice. And you probably know a couple people who talk just like this, and it is literally one of the most brain destruction that you can have, is talking the same way. Even speaking it like that, it's not enjoyable. Your tone is understanding the heights and levels of your words and how you can move people with your words. For example, your pitch, it's up and it's down. There's the speed at which you can talk. And with tone, I think it's just the strength of your voice or the lightness of your voice. But honestly, I kind of put tone in the same box as those 3. Your words are so powerful, and they have so much ability to move people, where if I wanted to just talk a little bit faster, if I wanted to just make someone feel a little bit more excitement in their life, and maybe I wanted to move things a little bit faster, like it's a movie, I can just speak a little bit faster. I can make everyone feel this type of a little bit of anxiousness, a little bit of excitement by just speaking faster. But if I wanted to slow things down for the person and I wanted them to feel the emotions, maybe it allows them to think a little bit more, but shows them, their heartbeat. When you just take some seconds between your words. But what I'm saying is, you have the ability to move someone with your tone, and you mix that with the right words, you have incredible influence as a speaker, incredible influence as someone who has an offer or has a product and you want to sell. But if you don't recognize those things, then you'll fall to whichever habits of communication and tone that you've had for so many years. But if we know that wealth is equal to our level of communication, then we know we have to work on this. So something you can do is you can record yourself. It's difficult, I know, but you can record yourself in the way that you speak and start listening to speakers who have an incredible tone. They have just this ability to speak with strength and then speak with so much lightness. And something I've learned is that you can go up and you can go down and you can kind of play with it a little bit until you find the right places for strength and find the right places for gentleness. Let's move on to number 6. Speak with clarity and intention. Speak with clarity and intention. People trust people who understand what they're saying, and if it is a streamlined way of communicating. If you have to question yourself and think, oh, maybe I didn't mean that. So here's actually what I mean. What was I trying to say? You wouldn't trust me if I was a teacher, if I was a coach, if I was a person in my position. But you trust me because of my conviction in my words and my clarity behind the words. Because I will do a lot of thinking for myself of what am I trying to do in this conversation? Am I simply just here to talk about whatever and see where it goes? Or am I here to empower the person? Am I here to make a sale? Am I here to find out this person's needs? I always have an intention for the relationship, and I always have an intention for the conversation. Otherwise, the other person will lead it or will be led by whatever circumstances of our mindset. If we're both in the heat of politics, we'll have a useless conversation about politics. I no longer have useless conversations in my life. Either we're building a relationship and we're getting to know each other better, or there is a coaching aspect where I'm trying to make you better and I'm trying to get to understand you better so I can help you better, or I'm simply trying to make the energy in the room improved because of our conversation. There's always an intention behind it. So all of my words are going to be in the baseline of that intention. For example, my intention is empowerment. So I'm never going to say anything that would be a backhanded compliment. I'm never going to say anything that would tear someone down if I'm on the lane of empowerment, if my intention is an empowerment. And because I'm very clear on where I'm going, my words are also going to be very clear. Because I don't have to second guess, because I've filtered my words so much to a point where we're a straight line and I don't have to think that much. My intention here is to teach communication through my experience and also show the essence of the way I communicate. That's my clear intention. There's nothing else on my mind. You'll see when me and Andrew do a live show and we don't prepare for it or we don't set an intention, we are all over the place. But if you simply set the intention before you talk to the person, before you go live, before you pick up the phone, you will have so much clarity. I'm going to add one in here. This is not number 7. This is still number 6, but don't babble. I would rather you be silent and allow silence to kick in than for you to fill it with babble. And this doesn't necessarily go in like friend conversations, relationship conversations. This is more in a authority position, in a teaching position, in a sales position. If you don't know what to say, don't fill it in with random words that make the other person feel like you don't know what you're saying. Simply allow the silence to speak for you. And allow that space to be a place where you can think and you can let the other person think as well. Next, the expander. Type in the chat, the expander. So this is how you can literally make someone think that you are the best communicator in the world and that you're the best listener in the world and that you are someone who is just incredible because no one else does this for them. And it is when somebody is talking to you and opening up in any certain way, all you have to do is give them a safe space. But what is the tool that allows us to give them a safe space? It is simply saying, tell me more about that. Expand on that. Tell me that story. Those three things alone will give the person so much safety in their heart to be able to open up, to be able to tell you the things that they haven't told anybody. They might not have even told their brother, their sister, their mother, significant other, but because you told them to expand on it, to tell me that story, they may have told that story hundreds of times up until the point where they stopped, but no one has ever said, tell me more about that. And they've never even thought about it themselves because no one else has asked them. They haven't asked themselves. So when you ask them, tell me more about that story, you're going to feel just this experience of love and this experience of connection and breakthrough that the other person is having. And because I know many of you are entrepreneurs, you're coaches, you are leaders, this is something that your team is going to stick around you for. This is something that your clients, your customers are going to want to be around you because you have this ability as a leader to get them to expand on their thoughts. All right, we got a couple more. Number 8, how to dominate a networking event. Type in the chat, make yourself comfortable first. This is a rule that I've made for myself everywhere I go, whenever I'm making content, whenever I'm on a live show, whenever I'm about to go on stage, I make sure that I'm comfortable first. It might sound like a selfish thing, but I don't think it is. I think it is actually one of the greatest things you could do for the audience is making sure you're comfortable. Because how uncomfortable might you be if I'm fidgeting the whole time while trying to teach you about communication, right? Or maybe I start messing around with everything that I can possibly mess around with. But I'm in the comfort of my home. I'm on a comfortable chair. I've got water around me. And I've got this camera in front of me. But that's all I'm looking at. It's just me, this camera. I got your comments here. I got my water. I am incredibly confident. Comfortable is what I meant, but also confident. Same thing goes at a networking event, which is typically a much more high anxiety thing for entrepreneurs in the very beginning. But if you see me at a networking event, you will see me walk in and I will grab a water. If they don't have a water, I typically have a water myself. I will grab a cup, an open one, not one where I have to unscrew anything, but an open cup. I'll pour myself some water. I'll drink the water. I'll look around and I'll find a comfortable place to sit and I'll sit down for a couple minutes, just relax. And then I'll find the most wallflower person that I can find that is either nervous or they're on their phone or clearly they're also in a very anxious spot, my job is to go straight for that person, not to go for the speaker, not to go for the hosts. No, my job is to go to that wallflower and pull some greatness out of that person, inspire them to talk to other people. Because doing that for them is going to do it for myself. And after I've done that once, I can talk to anybody in that room. Because I did not let any insecurity show up. I did not let any nervousness show up. I simply served. And you do that by serving yourself first. A glass of water, sit down, look for a wallflower, change their life. That's how I think. Those of you who are throwing events, the way that you'll see me throw an event is I will make sure that I'm comfortable, and I will make sure that I have given enough energy before I go on stage. So if you've ever been to one of my events, maybe a big conference, you'll see before I'm called up on stage, I will run out and I will say hi to everybody I can possibly say hi to because I need to, because it calms me down. By giving other people energy, I have now felt, hey, I'm serving. And it reminds me this mentality that broke through my stage fright, which is a mentor told me, Leo, as long as you are serving up there, doesn't matter how you look, doesn't matter if you mess up, because they're listening for that one word, that one sentence that they're going to write down and use that's going to change their life. They're not thinking about your hair. They're not thinking about your clothing. They're not thinking about a mess up that you had. They're simply looking for that one nugget that you're about to give them. So do that. Make yourself comfortable first. Okay? All right. We got a little bit more time. Number 9 is the mindset of abundance. Type in the chat, the mindset of abundance. So this is the idea and philosophy that I have, that there are 8 billion people on this planet, and you are incredible and you're working on yourself. And I never want you to think scarcely about people. I never want you to think there's not enough people out there, there's not enough friends out there, there's not enough amazing people out there. Because when you think that way, in a scarce way, you'll talk to someone and you might be afraid of messing up, or you might be afraid of losing them, or what if they think about me this way? It's a scarce mindset. The same way we might view money scarcely, so we hold on to it so tightly, or we make decisions in a scarce mentality. But going back to people here, we know that there's incredible people out there and that we are worthy to attract them, and that there is an abundance of clients, there's an abundance of customers, there's an abundance of people. And because of that, you're not afraid to mess up. Because if someone doesn't like me, there is such a feeling that goes through my mind years ago of like, why is that there? Why don't they like me? Did I do something wrong? Did I mess up? Now, if people don't like me, it is 100% the mentality of that is your loss. Like I'm fine with it, but hey, could have been a great friendship here. And it's simply that. I don't lose sleep over it. I don't lose feeling over it. It's simply like, well, that's fine. You move on to the next. And I'll take that back even a little bit more. I think it used to be that years ago of like, all right, screw you, next. Now it's like there is no next. It is, I'm focused on my life and my people. And I'm so abundant because I know there's so many more people, but I don't need to have so many people because I have minds. And because of that, when I meet someone, it's like, hey, I don't need to get you to like me. I don't need to prove anything, because I'm very happy with my core. And it would actually be a huge thing if I brought this person into my inner circle, because now they have to get accustomed. And now their energy, their culture is mixed into mine because you are the average of the people you spend the most time around. So actually, now I'm very protective of my core circle. And I have a huge filter for the people that I even will allow into my life, let alone the events, let alone the mastermind, let alone becoming a student. So think abundantly about how many incredible people there are in the world. And this goes for partnerships. This goes for relationships. This goes for students. But that's only going to help your relationship so much more if you just think in abundance and love. Because if you think in abundance of people, you think in abundance of love, and you think in abundance of giving, and think in abundance of time. And if you choose the person, for example, Andrew and I, we've been brothers, chosen brothers for about 5 years, right? We understand that there's an abundance of people, but we have invested so much time, invested so much energy, and created something great, and have created such a brotherhood and a respect for each other that we understand that we don't need another partnership. And of course, when there's great partners, we bring them on with that same mentality and that same filter. But that's why him and I are able to build such a great relationship and a great partnership and a bond, because we're both abundantly thinking, and we think in abundance in other areas like money, like time, like energy. Wow. Okay, these last three, we're going to sprint through them. This has been fun. Number 10 is speak to the future, not the present. This is for the leaders. This is for the people who are improving in their communication and they feel they're ready to step up. But I wanted to add some of these because I know you are all becoming leaders. Is a rule of thumb is you speak to the person that they can become. You are that bright voice in their head that they might not have yet, or you validate that bright voice in their mind. Because if we're having a conversation, you and I know that you want to get better at tennis, and you say you want to get better at tennis, but you're currently not doing the best at tennis, my language is never going to be you suck, or hey, you're not doing too well, or yeah, you didn't play too well today, or okay game, right? Or you did good. My conversation is, I see how hard you're working. Like, I see how much you're improving. My conversation is, dude, in 2 years, imagine how good you're going to be. Like, even in 3 months, if you keep training the way you're training, like, imagine you're going to crush. Same thing with someone learning communication, right? It is the same thing. Like, in 2 months, you're going to crush it. I speak to the future version of themselves. You're doing so well. You're crushing it, right? And I do that because that's what they need to hear in their own voice, is they need to be telling themselves, like, I'm doing really well. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of me. Because that type of leadership with themselves is what's going to carry them forward into their future self. And people have enough voices in their head of negativity that if you in your life can just simply be a bright light for others, everyone around you is only going to improve. I used to tear people down when I was insecure. This was years ago. I used to tear people down because I didn't feel like I was worthy enough. And I felt like when people grew, they were going to outgrow me. So I wouldn't to their face directly say things, so like breaking them down, but I would do it slowly with different words and sentences and backhanded compliments. And I remember one day, it was so loud to me that I did it. And I felt so like disgusting about what I was doing to people that I vowed to myself, never again will I ever put someone down. And to this day, I don't even have a single thought of that. And because when we build a security in ourselves, a worthiness in ourselves, a confidence in ourselves, all we want to do is lift other people up. Because that's what you do for yourself every single day. And you know you won't get brought back down. And because of that, the expression and feeling that the other person gets to have is the voice that they've always wanted. And now they can start to improve their own voice. And that, of course, is another place where you can build such a strong bond, where you as a leader, you as a coach, can coach another person how to think. And if that person's going to be close to you, you want them to be secure. You want them to be elevated, because if they're elevated, so are you. So, side message, be careful who you put into your inner circle as well, because again, as a theme of today, who is very close to you either elevates you or brings you down. That's number 10. 11 is silence. Type in the chat, silence. Home stretch. This is my favorite because it used to be my least favorite. And since I've learned it, I've changed my entire life. Silence is what I've used for 90% of my closes, which has resulted in about $3 to $5 million in sales. And I say 3 to 5 because some of it was also other tactics that I use other than just silence. But it's just this ability to let the right space be the communication. You want to write it down, let silence speak. If you're ever applying to consult with us, we're going to hop on a meeting, and it's going to be an interview. And I'm going to ask you some of the deepest questions that you've ever been asked. And when I do, some of them you've never been asked before, and you have to do a little bit of thinking. And I'll ask you the question of, over the past 5-10 years, like, what has been the reoccurring theme of why you're not where you want to be yet? And I'll just shut up. I might not speak for 5 minutes because the person is thinking for a minute or two, and then they talk for 3 minutes. I might not talk for 20 minutes because they might just rip for 20. But because of that, 20 minutes of incredible output and opening up was done, versus if I asked a question and you didn't respond for the first 30 seconds because you were thinking, and I watered down the question. Or maybe you were in the midst of opening up and you paused and you had a little bit more, so you just needed some silence to get there. But instead, I just asked you the next question because I couldn't hold the silence. So much of our high-ticket sales, so much of our breakthroughs, so much of our greatest conversations have happened simply by letting silence speak. So I did like this for a reason. I put silence at number 11 for a reason, because I wanted to talk how I normally talk through 1 through 11, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But for 11, I wanted to create so much more silence. So you can kind of see how in this time, maybe you're able to think a little bit deeper. Maybe my words hit a little bit more. So just practice it. Let silence, be comfortable with silence, and practice it with conversations. just like I'm doing now. All right, last one, guys. Number 12, be a mirror. Number 12 is to be a mirror. This is my favorite because it's a philosophy that I follow every day that we already talked about, is make people better than you left them. And also your job is to pull people's gold out of them, pull people's greatness out of them. So I'm simply going to be a mirror for you. My job is to reflect your greatness. My job is to look for any type of greatness in you and pull it out of you. Whether that's through compliments, whether that's through my confidence beaming back to you, whether that's just noticing a couple things. But it's more of a philosophy of being that person for them that will tell them the things that they're doing well. And how you do that is tell them the things that you feel. Like, hey, I notice your energy is very high when you talk about communication. I notice your energy is I notice you light up when you start talking about coding. I don't know who lights up talking about coding. Some people do. Ahmed, our CTO, lights up. But we'll tell him, like, hey, I notice when you talk about that, like, you light up. Like, what is it about that? And then what's going to happen is if a person starts to go down a track of talking about something passionately with someone who is simply a good mirror, you can change their entire life forever. Let's just say they have a passion for life coaching. I noticed you have a passion when you talked about this life coaching thing that you were trying to do. Oh, yes. I just, I think about people who, aren't healthy, and they think about their health and they want to improve their life. And wow, I love the way you care about other people. That's incredible. Tell me more about that. What's your dream there? They're already in this state of talking passionately about something. You ask them their dream, it is over. They are going to tell you exactly what they want to do. And it is your job, if you want to keep being a mirror and shoot them up and say, I think you can do it. Like, I think you have what it takes to do that. Because when I listen to you, I don't know what it is, but you have this ability to talk so passionately about this where other people might not be able to. Right? That can change someone's life. That can change a generation because of the way they change their life, and their life changes their kids' life and their friends, etc. Or you could be someone who shoots it down the other way. And this is why, guys, these 12 puts you in a very strong, powerful position of influence, but you want to use it for good. You want to use it to uplift people, because the same tactic of empowering someone is the same tactic of creating insecurity in others. And most people are guarded because of the ability that words have and people have on others. So we guard ourselves before we learn how to protect ourselves, before we learn how to feel fully. We protect ourselves because the only reason we have insecurity today is because somebody else in our past gave us that insecurity through their words or through their actions. So we have the capability now today to allow someone to open up and lift them up versus have them open up and tear them back down and create even more insecurity in their lives. But when you learn how to do this for yourself by removing insecurity from your own life and becoming very confident in healing yourself, you have, in my opinion, the moral and ethical obligation to heal other people, whether you want to do it or not. I think this is what God calls us to do, is to heal, is to love other people. And I think the truest way to love other people is thinking in this format of how can I make this person feel heard? And how can I create space for this person? How can I create safety around the people around me so that they can grow? So that is 1 through 12 of the essence of how I view communication. And of course, there's hundreds more. But I wanted to use this time, use this platform to be able to refresh my memory, because I'm going to make more content on communication in this context, in this healing context. And it's going to be on the same YouTube channel that you're probably on. If not, it is Leo Valentino. And just continue being here. We're going to be back Monday, same time, same place. And we're going to be giving so much more. We're going to be teaching so much more and giving you guys frameworks. And of course, Monday nights, go to truca.com. Monday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, a lot of the tribe gets together. That's you, that's me, that's Andrew, that's students, that is people who are leaders, people who are new entrepreneurs, people who are thinking about being entrepreneurs. We just get together and we sit together in breakout rooms. We talk about life. We talk about challenges. We talk about communication. We talk about business. We talk about how to make more money, how to invest. It's just a beautiful community of people just like you. And I invite you to be there. So go to truca.com, just put in your information there, and you're going to get access to come on to the tribe call. And it's where you and I will get to talk a little bit more. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that these lessons stick with you and that you can take a lot of action. Peace out. Have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.